Moodi, thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you for taking the time. My very first question, how do you pronounce your last name?
It's got every vowel in it, yeah. A, E, I, O, and U.
Yeah.
So most people say Dennaoui, but it's Dennaoui.
Dennaoui.
Dennaoui, yeah.
Dennaoui. Okay, I'll try to get it
Yeah,
right.
Moodi's good.
Moodi's great. Moodi, first time we met today. I've never met you before. I've heard a lot about you.
Hopefully good.
Who is Moodi Dennaoui?
In a nutshell, it depends if you're asking who I was, how I got here today, who I am today. Today, I'm just somebody that likes to talk about food, really, in a nutshell, and tries to. I make an effort to take the science, the evidence-based research, and intertwine it with the teachings of the past, in particular the teachings of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But in saying that, if you look at research, if you look at history, if you study the lives of our ancestors, they all pretty much ate the same. So if you're talking about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, or you're talking about Jesus alayhi salam, or you're talking about Abraham alayhi salam, it's an approach to food and well-being that is synonymous with all of those eras. Yeah. And as we've progressed from a technological perspective, we have regressed from a health perspective.
Yeah. So what's your diet like?
On a good day, it would consist of, proteins, fats, and carbs in the morning. And usually, I used to have a snack between breakfast and lunch, and then I'd have lunch, and then a snack between lunch and dinner, and then dinner. But now it tends to be just food. Having a meal prep company makes life a lot easier. So as you saw when I walked in here, I got my little cooler bag with my meals in there.
Yeah.
And I'll just, every couple of hours, I'll sort of eat intuitively. And I'll pick something off the menu and go from there. But I try and have a little bit of everything at every time slot. I don't like to follow any particular ideologies like keto or paleo or, with all due respect to those philosophies, I don't like to employ them.
So as long as it's balanced.
Correct, yeah. Because if you're eating anywhere between, say, 3 to 5 meals a day, let's say you're doing well and you're having 5 meals a day, that's 35 meals a week.
Yeah.
You can slip up twice, not once a week. You can have 2 refeeds or cheat meals or whatever you want to call them. And as a consequence, your diet is still going to be over 90% good. And that's going to reflect on the way you feel and the way you look. It's more what you're doing more than what you're not doing. As long as the balance is in favor of good over bad, then the outcome is going to be good. Like as I say to people, no one ever got fat eating one burger, and no one ever got a 6-pack having one chicken breast.
Yeah.
It's a balance of both. And any diet that tells you, you cannot eat this particular food or drink this certain beverage for the rest of your life isn't worth the paper it's printed on. Yeah. Because automatically when you tell someone they cannot have something, that's when they want it the most.
So you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Yeah.
3 meals a day?
3 meals a day.
Sometimes 5?
Sometimes 4, sometimes 5.
Okay.
Depending on how active I am during the day. Sometimes I'll be doing 1 training session in the morning. Today I didn't get to train yet, but I'll make up for it. And sometimes I'll do 2 training sessions. Sometimes it'll be a weight session in the morning, some cardio, and then some jiu-jitsu around lunchtime.
Okay.
Yeah.
How important is rest day?
Rest is everything, like especially at my age. But even as you're growing up, like recovery is critical to staying injury free and being able to, continue to work towards your goals. If you're off for a week, it can take up to a fortnight to bounce back. If you're injured and you're off for say a month, sometimes it can take 3 months to bounce back or to get the results that you achieved prior to getting injured. But recovery is everything. In the past, recovery was taking a day off a week, or taking some glutamine. But now there's an entire realm of science that's devoted to the art of recovery, whether it's through contrast therapy, whether it's through having a nap in the afternoon, supplementation, cryotherapy. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, recovery, and rightfully so. Without recovery, there is no progression because the training is just a stimulus. You're not actually making any progress when you're in the gym tearing muscle down. You're in essence, what you're doing is you're trying to create a new level of homeostasis, a new benchmark. So you're raising the bar. And then when you leave the gym and you're eating and you're resting and you're supplementing, that's when you see the fruits of your labor.
So what's the right amount of sleep then?
There is no really, there's no one size fits all, because it's about the quality of sleep that you're getting. Like I've been wearing a ring to track sleep for quite some time.
Yeah.
And often the nap that I get in the afternoon is more valid for recovery than the entire night of sleep, because the amount of deep sleep that I get during the day is far greater. So there's deep sleep, there's REM sleep, and there's light sleep. And you need a little bit of everything in certain percentages, like 15% should be deep sleep, 25% REM, rapid eye movement. But the best way to figure out for your level of activity and for you as an individual in your biography, what sleep is ideal for you is to get rid of electronics, create a cool environment in your room, switch off your alarms, go to sleep naturally, like anytime after sunset, preferably not too far after sunset, say about 2 hours afterwards, and allow yourself to naturally wake up. Sometimes you'll wake up and really you're not done with sleep. You should go back to sleep. So the worst thing you can do when you first open your eyes is look at your phone or switch the light on. Avoid that like the plague. Just completely avoid it and close your eyes again. And within a few moments, you'll probably notice that you'll go back to sleep.
Right.
When you're awake and you feel satiated and you feel content with how much sleep that you've got, that is how much sleep that is required for you as an individual. That's an organic way to measure how much sleep you need as an individual, because there are no two human beings the same.
So listen to your body.
You have to, with regards to nutrition and with food and with everything. And it takes a while, takes a little bit of maturity to be able to do that, especially with so much noise. Like when you're trying to create a benchmark for yourself with regards to food and training and sleep, but in the background, you've got your friends telling you what you should be doing. You've got Instagram telling you what you should be doing, different influencers or influenza.
I just had a chat about this with Andrew.
I call them influenza instead of influencer. So you got the influencers online and they're telling you what you should be doing. Yeah. You've got apps online telling you what you should be doing. You've developed OCD from looking at MyFitnessPal and entering hypotheticals. So if you block all that out, only then are you going to understand what's for you. Having multiple apps and multiple opinions and multiple individuals telling you what is correct for you and not correct, it's very, very toxic. Even an app like MyFitnessPal can be very good, right, for tracking and for looking at your macros and everything else. But once you've used it for what it's meant to be used for, get rid of it. Someone like myself, I think everybody with a mathematics background has some form of OCD. So what I was doing is I was wasting an hour or two a day with MyFitnessPal, quite literally entering hypotheticals. I was entering things I wasn't even eating. Yeah. I'm like, okay, so if I have that and I leave out the rice, then I might be able to have, sneak in half a Snickers bar later. And it's all hypotheticals. So I'm entering things that I'm not even eating, and it's very time consuming and it becomes very toxic.
Yeah. It gets into your mind. So I've been wearing this for a while as well to track my sleep. Yeah. And last night was probably one of the shortest sleeps that I had. Probably about five hours, less than that. I woke up. Now this is something new that I not that I learned, but I just figured out. So I know that it's got a gentle wake technology or whatever it's called. Yeah. I just figured it out last night that I could turn it on instead of an alarm. Now that you mentioned that, turn off your alarm. Yeah. I did turn off my alarm last night, and the first time, the smart wake technology, I think that's what it's called. Yeah. So it wakes me up gently between 6 to 6:30. I have my blind goes up automatically at 6:30. That's when the sun rises as well. Yeah. And I feel very rejuvenated, very energized.
Yeah. What's the app?
It's a Fitbit.
Okay, it's a Fitbit.
It's just a Fitbit. Yeah.
So what does it do? It vibrates and wakes you up?
I have no idea. No idea. Normally it would vibrate to wake me up if I set an alarm at 5:30 in the morning. But this one is just smart wake. I have no idea what it does. It just wakes me up.
And you feel good.
It wakes you up during your light sleep cycle.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, the most important part of the sleep is the first 1/3.
Correct.
And if you don't get that first 1/3, now people tend to think the first 1/3 of sleep is the first 1/3 of whatever time I happen to go to bed. So, for instance, if I go to bed at midnight and I wake up at 9, then my 1/3 is from 12 a.m. midnight till 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
That's not true. The first third of your sleep has to include or cease between 11 p.m. and 1 o'clock in the morning, because that's when you're going to get the most effective deep sleep and REM sleep and that real, solid recovery. If you go to bed at 2 in the morning, I don't care if you're getting 8 hours or 10 hours sleep, you're still going to wake up feeling like crap. You're going to wake up feeling lethargic and tired because your circadian rhythm is not designed to be in bed during those hours. You're designed to be in deep sleep at the very latest between 11 p.m. and 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. If you sleep solid between 11 and 1 and you were to wake up at 6 and only get 6 hours of sleep, that may be more efficient for you or might be more effective for you than getting 8 to 10 hours sleep that starts at 2 o'clock in the morning, where you've missed that window and you've missed the opportunity for recovery. And how many times have you, have all of us, we've slept over the weekend, let's say on a Sunday, wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock, have a big sleep in, and you wake up feeling like crap.
Yeah.
You wake up feeling like, man, I need another 10 hours. What's going on? It's not just that you've slept within the wrong window, but you may also have a sleep debt, and all debts have to be paid off.
Yeah.
So the body's just trying to play catch up. We're designed to be awake when the sun's up, and asleep when the sun's down. It's that simple. And it's not just the sun, but a combination, like plants and photosynthesis. It's a combination of the sun and the food that you eat that creates good sleep. Good sleep doesn't start at night. Good sleep doesn't start with unwinding and watching or putting your TV onto YouTube and listening to meditation sounds for half an hour before you go to bed. That's not good sleep hygiene. Good sleep hygiene starts from the moment you wake up. It's waking up not far off sunrise or even before sunrise. Science shows that if you're up before sunrise, when oxygen concentration is at its highest, your brain functions differently. You're much more effective. You're a lot more, your performance is different. And then with good food comes the right amino acids and nutrients, things like tryptophan. So when you wake up in the morning, expose yourself to a good hearty breakfast, expose your eyes to natural sunlight as the sun is rising. That has a profound effect on your circadian rhythm. But what it also does, a combination of the sun and the food, creates a release of this neurotransmitter in the brain called serotonin.
Yeah.
And now serotonin we've all heard of, like endorphins and things like that. It's a neurotransmitter that makes you feel happy. It creates a sense of vitality during the day and a sense of well-being. You have that sense of well-being during the day, so you've benefited from that. And then as the day starts to progress, as the sun starts to set, without your consent, the sun starts to set, the body starts to unwind, your heart rate changes, your breathing changes, your body temperature changes to prepare you for sleep. But while that's happening, that neurotransmitter serotonin, the body starts to convert that to a hormone called melatonin.
Yeah.
Which is what people buy over from the pharmacy or get. You need a script, I think, for it.
Yeah.
To get a nice deep sleep. And we have to start asking ourselves, how do we know about these supplements? How do we know about this science? How do we know about this technology? Mankind didn't create it because it either exists within us or in nature. Yeah. So every supplement that you can think of, carnitine, glutamine, amino acids, they either exist in nature, in food, in plants, or they exist in you. And that's how we know about them. So we need to take that information and figure out how to bring all that to the surface. Because all that luminosity is part of the human being. It's our responsibility now to tap into it and bring it to the surface. I use carnitine as an example a lot. Like people that want to lose body fat, they want to take carnitine.
Yeah.
It's no problem, but it's a Band-Aid fix like everything else. And there's nothing wrong with taking supplements. I've got a supplement company myself. However, ask yourself, why have my own natural carnitine stores started to run dry? Because as you get older, your carnitine production starts to slow down and your metabolism starts to slow down, and you get a little bit more body fat than you did when you were younger. But if you delve into that and you realize that your body is creating carnitine, and then ask yourself, what does my body need to make carnitine? It needs vitamin C. So if you increase your vitamin C intake, by default, your body will take that vitamin C and start creating more carnitine reserves. And then your body will start using food for fuel, start using fat for energy. Right, and you've addressed the cause, not the symptom.
Right. So if you want to lose fat, increase your vitamin C intake.
Vitamin C, that's one takeaway, but also calcium.
Calcium?
Yeah. So people people have to think outside the box, really, especially when it comes to nutrition. So calcium, when someone says calcium, you think bone health.
Correct.
But calcium is one of the key ingredients in the fat burning process. Calcium is one of the key ingredients in the fat burning process.
How so?
So the body needs certain minerals. Fat burning is a reaction, and you need certain ingredients for that chemical reaction to take place. Like you're sitting down in a lab, in a science lab, and you want to get certain ingredients put together so that you can get a certain reaction, right? Like with the experiment that we've been doing lately with schools and showing them what happens when you eat fruit after food by taking vinegar and baking soda and mixing them together, and we get a gaseous reaction. Now, fat burning is quite the same, and you need certain ingredients to be present for fat burning to take place. And the science backs it up, because people with the best body composition, not BMI, BMI is a bunch of nonsense. According to BMI, I'm morbidly obese because it measures muscle and fat as fat.
Okay.
It's all fat. It's either fat or it's not fat. BMI is not meant to be used, especially in schools with kids. I remember when I was studying education, one of the last subjects we did, I was doing a double degree maths and bachelor's in secondary education. We did a subject at the end in the final year called coaching school sport.
Okay.
And I remember the lecturer brought me out to the front. He said, we're going to calculate Moody's BMI. And then he said to everyone in the lecture theatre at Sydney Uni, this is why you don't use BMI with kids. Because some kids naturally carry muscle from when they're young. Like you've got Islander kids who are quite muscular.
Yep.
To tell them that they're morbidly obese is not correct. So in terms of body composition, the studies show that the people with the best body composition, for instance, ate dairy. Dairy is something that everyone runs away from now.
Correct.
I'm lactose intolerant, or no, I don't have dairy, or I got oat milk in this, right? But if I had organic milk at home, I'd be having organic milk, because the people with the best body composition are always people that consume dairy products, organic, natural dairy products, because of the calcium content in them and also the delivery mechanism of calcium to magnesium. You've got certain, in food, unlike supplements, unless they're made very, very carefully, you have delivery mechanisms that deliver these things into your bloodstream. So taking a calcium supplement on its own is not the same as having yogurt.
Right. It's
not the same. I don't know if you remember, there was a story that, not that you believe everything that you hear on A Current Affair in 60 Minutes, even though I've featured on both, especially Current Affair as a health expert quite often. But you got to take what you see on there with a grain of salt, right? Believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. Calcium supplements were exposed as causing osteoporosis.
It's the complete opposite.
You're correct. So you take calcium to prevent osteoporosis, right?
Yes.
But it was causing osteoporosis.
How so?
And that's why they're always on sale at the pharmacy, because good calcium supplements won't just have calcium on their own. Because the body, you got to ask yourself, in nature, does calcium exist on its own? It doesn't.
Yeah.
It exists in combination with other minerals and delivery mechanisms that the body consumes, like the egg white and the egg yolk. It's really trendy to eat the egg white. But is it as beneficial as eating the egg white with the egg yolk? Do you absorb more or less protein without it? The egg yolk is not there by accident. It's a delivery mechanism. With dairy products, calcium exists with magnesium in a 2-to-1 ratio. So the magnesium acts as a delivery into the bloodstream.
Yeah.
And that's where you benefit from it. If you take calcium on its own and you don't have a delivery mechanism, I take this calcium supplement. My body says, what the heck is this? I don't know what this is. I don't know where it's come from. I don't know how to metabolize it. So it starts to tax your existing tissue, including your skeletal structure, because your skeleton is tissue.
Yes.
It starts to tax it to help provide that calcium with whatever it needs in order to help metabolize it. So instead of something being beneficial and something serving a purpose, it becomes something that is taxing the human body instead, because the body's trying its very best to break it down. So it's actually giving the supplement that you've ingested nutrients from your own tissue to help metabolize it, which is the very opposite
to what
you're trying to do.
So if that's the case, what should you take to increase the calcium or to prevent osteoporosis?
See, calcium, another thing with calcium supplements, you need you need delivery mechanisms. Iron, people that take iron supplements, a lot of them don't get any progress. Most women in Australia are iron deficient. And you would, if you're not taking an adequate amount of vitamin C with your iron supplements, they're useless. Even if you're having iron infusions, useless. So you have to source these things, if you have a deficiency in them, from multiple food sources. And I tell people, for instance, you're iron deficient, because I've had patients come to me and say, Moodi, my iron deficiency is, I had a mate of mine, his daughter, right? She's had infusions. She's iron deficient, supplements are not working. I got her on a good quality supplement, and there are good quality supplements out there. They're just not on the shelf. They're behind the counter. And often you need to consult a naturopath or a nutritionist prior to getting them. On top of that, the conversation is usually goes along the lines of, I also eat a lot of red meat, but it's not helping. Okay, well, you need to expose your body to an array of different foods. Foods exist in different shapes and colors to help us navigate them.
Yeah.
The walnut doesn't look like a brain by accident, right? It lubricates the neurons in your brain. There are certain vegetables and certain fruits that look like the organs that they nourish.
Yeah.
And if you look at iron and where it comes from, it's not just red meat. There's a lot of iron in dark leafy green vegetables like spinach and kale. And we need that iron as well to help with absorption. There's more iron in cacao than there is in steak per gram.
Wow.
So I often, with my smoothies, I don't like calling them superfoods. And I'll say, cacao is a superfood. It is, but everything that's natural is a superfood, really. Right? We just have these terms on that we use is because we're not left with any food. We've got pseudo foods, edible things that are posing as food,
yeah,
but they're not actually food. So if you expose yourself to food, different colors and different shapes, the benefits are profound. You'll never need, it's all in the hands of God, but your likelihood of getting sicknesses and diseases and things like that becomes very minimal.
Okay. I wanted to circle back to circadian rhythm. How can you trick or train circadian rhythm? So let's say, for example, someone who travels a lot like yourself, you just got back from South Africa, you just got back from Indonesia.
Going away in a couple of weeks as well again.
See, there you go. You need to train your circadian rhythm to be able to get you to a sleep cycle.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do it?
It depends if flying's involved. There's a certain recipe that you follow. What I tell clients and athletes who travel a lot is when you're on the plane, you have to take into consideration quite a few things. Your blood viscosity changes due to the pressure, right, and the altitude. So your blood tends to get thicker and you dehydrate. You dehydrate roughly 100 to 150 mils per hour. Now, that doesn't mean that I did a 15-hour flight from Johannesburg. That doesn't mean that I have to be awake for 15 hours sitting in my seat going, okay, it's been an hour, 100 mils. Okay, it's been another 2 hours, 200 mils. That's not what you have to do. You can have a sleep. I slept for, I think, up to 6 hours, during that 15-hour flight. But you just have to understand that when you wake up, you've got a debt of whatever you dehydrated in 6 hours. That's the first thing you have to do in flying.
Okay.
So, okay, I slept for 6 hours. I owe 600 mils. First thing people say is, I drink 600 mils. I've got to go to that uncomfortable little cubicle that's called a toilet in the plane. You'd rather do that, as uncomfortable as it is. It's not that bad as well. You'd rather do that than have to deal with jet lag for a week when you arrive and ruin your holiday or your work trip, for instance, because of your brain fog. So the first thing you have to do is keep your blood viscosity, or the density and thickness of your blood the way it should be, so that your heart doesn't have to work overtime to pump blood to all your tissue and your organs to keep you alive. The next thing you have to do when you arrive is, well, the first thing you want to do is lay down. Go straight to the hotel. I need to get to my hotel. I need to lay down. I need to have a shower. No, and close the curtains. That's the worst thing you can do. You've got to expose yourself to sunlight, because that's what regulates our circadian rhythm to a large degree, is light. That's why artificial light's so bad for you. That's why playing with your phone at 9 p.m. and then putting it down, tossing and turning for half an hour or 45 minutes, wondering why you can't sleep, well, you've told your brain that it's daytime. And that's a massive issue. That's a massive problem that we have when we are exposed to artificial light. So you've got to expose yourself to natural light when you arrive. Move, exercise, get your blood flowing, get your heart to pump blood to all your tissue. And then your body clock will sort of realign itself to that time zone. The human being wasn't designed to be sedentary. We were designed to move, and we were designed to travel. You know, our ancestors were wayfarers, and they traveled from A to B to C. How did they acclimate? Naturally. They were always moving. They stayed hydrated. Water was a luxury in some cases. And there was no, I'm going to sleep in or close the blinds or do any of that. It's your behavior that around traveling that dictates how severe the jet lag will be and how quickly you'll adapt to the time zone.
I've got a question. So I went from working, I used to own a lot of cafes. I used to run cafes.
Hate them.
You hate them?
Can't stand them.
I still love them.
Yeah, I love eating at them. I just don't like owning them. And you got no holidays.
That's true. So I went from running a lot of cafes to a desk job.
Yeah.
That was back in 2019, and within a year I gained 10 kilos. Now.
Yeah.
And after that, I realized that I need to move a little bit more, because you went from 15,000 steps every day to virtually 0 to 2,000 steps at most every day. How important is it to move, or how much do you need to move if you have a desk job like that?
I was talking to somebody about that recently. It's called, and I've done a little bit of research into it. I don't like saying that. I don't like saying I've done some research, because when people say that, it just means that they've Googled something. But when I say I've researched something, that means I've read evidence-based research, journal articles. Yep. And you even got to be careful with peer-reviewed, published journal articles. A friend of mine showed me a peer-reviewed, published journal article that still had the ChatGPT prompts in there. So, you know, how peer-reviewed is it? Yep. But especially in COVID, everyone was a researcher. Bro, I did my research. You should take this vaccine. But I've done my homework when it comes to what's called non-energy activity total calories, NEAT, N-E-A-T. Yeah. So that's the amount of calories or energy that you expend outside of the gym. And research shows that, and this is why I like intertwining the science with religion so much, because religion tells us the same thing. In the Islamic tradition, we're taught the same thing. There's a saying that says, so lack of movement causes congestion and blockage in the blood. And these are statements that are made over roughly 1,500 years ago. So it's more effective for a person to get up and move about every 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Even if it's a short distance, right? Parking a little bit further than where you're meant to park. Like we do. You'll notice that people will drive around, whether they're going to a concert or a footy match or whatever it is, or just even for a visit to someone's place. They'll drive around for 45 minutes to find the closest possible parking next to their destination, rather than just parking somewhere that's 10 minutes walk away comfortably and than just going for a stroll. I did that even in the rain last night. I had to go to a friend of mine's mother's funeral, and I noticed that the streets in Moodi Park were just full everywhere. So I didn't even bother. It's a little bit of rain. It's all good. I parked about 2 or 3 streets away comfortably, and it was, I'd say, maybe an 8-minute walk. That type of calorie expenditure during the day, taking the stairs instead of the escalator, moving every 20 minutes. Science shows that the person who spends more NEAT type of energy, non-energy activity total calories, is more healthy, is less likely to suffer from diseases, and is even cognitively in a better place than the person who just trains and busts their ass in the gym for 45 to 60 minutes, very hard, but then is sedentary for the other 23 hours of the day.
Yeah.
So it's more effective to just move than it is to kill yourself in the gym. And if you've been going to the gym for any prolonged period of time, you've seen it. How many times have you seen people in the gym that's in my case, I've been going to the gym for probably 3 decades. I bump into the same people 5 years later, 10 years later, still look the same.
I don't go to the gym.
Oh, you don't? Yeah, okay. You're not missing out on much. You're not missing out on much. But
I do a bit of calisthenics.
So what I'm saying is, find something that you enjoy. Let that be your exercise, right? And it's not something that you do Monday to Friday, then you take the weekend off. Something that you can commit to because you enjoy it for at least 30 minutes every single day, 7 days a week. And if it's not 7 days a week, the day that you have off, it's active recovery. I like to go for hikes, even if it's a short half an hour to 60-minute hike.
Yeah.
Do something and in between, move.
Mm-hmm.
We drive a lot. We don't have to get up to talk to people. Everything is done here. And we take on so much. And I think it helps a lot with cortisol is a major reason why our body composition has gotten worse over time. And because of this gadget here, with the birth of the smartphone, we experience the same amount of cortisol that we used to experience in 365 days in 24 hours.
It's cortisol addiction.
Yeah, so our stress, the stress that a human being once upon a time used to be exposed to, in 1 year, we are now exposed to in 1 day with the birth of the smartphone, because we say yes to everything and we're really not working when after 5 p.m. As long as this is with you, technically you're working.
I come from Indonesia. I come from the biggest Muslim country in the world, and I believe Islam has the best teachings of the way of life, the way you eat, timing and time in everything as well. So you mentioned something about Islam teaching us about the way we eat, diets and everything.
Correct, yeah.
What's your take on fasting?
If you're talking about fasting the way we're meant to fast, it's very, very good for you. Till now, it's the only method that is universally agreed upon by all specialists, doctors, oncologists, cancer specialists, that it is the only research-based proven way of getting rid of cancer in its early stages. I'm not talking about stage 4 cancer. I'm talking about cancer in its early stages through what's called autophagy. Mm-hmm. So once you've fasted for up to 14 hours, and your calorie intake is minimal and your insulin levels are controlled because you're not having processed sugar, then the body takes the toxic cells that are in your body and uses them as a fuel source. So
how are you meant to fast?
See, the way fasting is in a so-called developed society like the one we are in now, Australia, every day is a feast, which is completely antithetical to what fasting is about. Breaking the fast is something that has to be done in moderation. You have to avoid, gorging on food. It's not about how much food you can squeeze in between sunset and sunrise. And if you avoid basically you fast opposite to the way that people fast these days. Breaking your fast on the date and water, hydrating, using electrolytes, drinking coconut water, having small meals, not having, copious amounts of of sugars and artificial processed food and saturated fats and trans fats, the body will use all the nasty cells that are in you, all the toxic substances that are in you, and get rid of them and use them as a fuel source. And then you come out of the month of fasting reinvigorated and rejuvenated. And that's what fasting is designed for. It's like a physiological and cognitive reset.
Detox.
Yeah, it's a complete detox. Now, we shouldn't look at it as an opportunity to get a six-pack, right? And I'm going to start... You can use it as an opportunity to get healthier, but that's not what it's about. The theme behind it, the intention behind it is empathy, to be able to put yourself in the shoes of the other. You start to appreciate the things that, that you have. You appreciate the luxuries that you have that others don't. You can eat when you want. You can drink when you want. A large portion of the globe cannot do that. You still have 1 million people that die per year from dysentery, which is not having clean water to drink, just from the grit in the water. When they drink that, the kidneys can't break it down, so they urinate blood until they pass away. We've got clean water. Our bathroom water is cleaner than their drinking water. So it's about teaching you empathy, and it's also about the metaphysical benefits, not just the physical benefits that come with fasting. It humbles the human being.
Yeah.
There's nothing more humbling than reflecting on how dependent on your creator you are. So as soon as we get a job, we get a 9 to 5, we've got a steady income, we've got a partner at home, we've got a roof over our heads, we've got our own place, we've got a vehicle, we start to feel independent. And we're in an era where being independent is all the rage, right? It's a common language, but really we're not independent. A little bit of dust in your eye will remind you, or a toothache will remind you how dependent you are on God and other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're not as independent as we think we are.
Yeah. So, have you always had interest in nutrition as you're growing up, or when did that start?
I grew up with an eating disorder, so I come from a very I wasn't obese, I was very skinny. You could see my rib cage. I couldn't go for a swim for more than 30 seconds at a time because I'd start quivering. I couldn't regulate my own body temperature. I was too skinny. I looked malnourished. I just didn't have a good relationship with food. I had a toxic relationship with food. That stemmed from some issues as I was growing up. And then, I used to buy all the Flex magazines and the bodybuilding magazines. I didn't think in a million years I'd be on the cover of the magazines, not more than once. I couldn't afford to buy them, so I'd go to the news agency as a kid and as a student at Punchbowl Boys, and I'd have one of my mates looking out, because he used to like looking at the car magazines, the rotary magazines.
Yeah. I
said, you look out for me, I'll look out for you. So, because if you're not buying it, the news agent owner used to get pissed off. He's like, are you going to buy something, or are you going to? It's not a library, and we couldn't afford to buy them. So he's reading the car magazines, looking out for me, and I'm reading the fitness magazines. But I've been interested in it since then. Although I did study nuclear medicine and mathematics and all the rest of it, nutrition was always my passion, and I was always helping people with their diets and everything else, even before I became qualified. And then I said to myself, after I started to get some notoriety in the industry, that I can make a living doing something I enjoy. I love maths, but nutrition is there's still a lot of mathematics involved in nutrition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had a double degree in math.
Correct, yeah. I did maths.
Yes. And he told me that you did that in jail.
I did it coming from jail. So I got into a bit of mischief when I was just before my HSC. I think I'd just done my trials, and someone abused mum, spat at her. I reacted, maybe overreacted, but I gave this individual a hiding and got a little bit carried away. And he was in pretty bad shape. So to get the charges that I got, the sort of charges that you get when you cause, or GBH, grievous bodily harm, is when you cause damage that is irreversible. So whether it's, creating some sort of a defect in somebody, or a brain damage, or a disability of some sort that they have to live with for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
It's basically the heaviest charge that you can get before manslaughter, right? And that's what they smacked me with ×2, as well as assault occasioning bodily harm, malicious wounding, malicious inflict, and all the rest of it. But it was one issue.
Mm-hmm.
It was one issue. That was, somebody abusing my mother, spitting at her, trying to take her hijab off, and all the rest of it. And even the police officers that were there at the time said, we would have done the same. It's unfortunate that this is the law. I didn't expect to get into nuclear medicine. I actually picked it as a joke. So when I came out on bail, I was advised by my lawyers and my barrister to delay the sentencing until the HSC results come out.
Yeah.
Because if they come out in your favor, it's going to help your sentencing. So I said, okay. I still had to, get the permission of the principal, and the principal vouched for me because I was dux of the school pretty much anyway. So I had to, without a school bag, like I just had a knack for education because of a spectrum of autism that I grew up with that I didn't know I had.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, before you go to court for sentencing, you got to do these psych assessments and everything else before you get sentenced. And that's when I found out that what my condition was. And then I went into sentencing, and the magistrate said, okay, you did well in your HSC. You got into nuke med at Sydney University. I'm not going to put you away, but I'm going to keep you busy. You have to do anger management for 6 months at Hurstville Probation and Parole. I don't think it exists anymore. Stress management for another 6 months. A couple 100 hours of community service, which I enjoyed because it was at a nursing home for the paraplegic and quadriplegic. So it feels good to help people that are, that need it. And he kept me busy. You have to see the university counsellor twice a week. And if you skip any of these things or you fail a subject, you go in jail for a long time. So that's what made me want to leave nuke med, because I couldn't do the practical stuff and tell people they got cancer. I wanted to leave nuke med, go into mathematics, because I knew, even though I didn't see myself teaching mathematics, I knew that if I did maths, I wouldn't fail. So I was going to be at risk for getting into trouble, because I found maths quite easy. So I did the mathematics to sort of not stress about having to pass or fail, because I knew that I wouldn't fail. Then after that, I started working and teaching mathematics, but I said to myself, and I still live by this credo, like, time is going to pass whether you're going to do something or not, like, provided that we're still alive. Tomorrow is going to be the 9th of November, whether I do what I'm meant to be doing today or not. In a month from now, it'll be the 8th of December. In 10 years from now, it'll be 2034. So I can wake up in 1 month, in 6 months, or 4 years, or 10 years, having achieved that much more, or be exactly where I am now. And that's what I've always used as a motivator, even as a kid, to do things and finish things, even when I wanted to tap out, whether it be finishing a degree that I wasn't really fond of, or sticking with jiu-jitsu long enough to get a black belt, right, which takes a long time. There are many, many times along the journey that you want to tap out. But I used to always ask myself, is time going to stand still for me? No, it's going to continue to go. And I can wake up in 4 years' time, if as a purple belt, as now with a brown belt, or I can still be where I am. I can wake up with this much extra knowledge and education, or still where I am. So that's one thing that always scared me enough to just keep battling along.
So I'm going to ask you one question that I ask all the guests that come into our show. What's the fuck it moment in your life that propels you personally and professionally?
I think having to raise 4 sisters and mum. That's probably what woke me up and said, you know what, you can't rest on your laurels and expect things to be handed to you. When I woke up one day and I realized that I was the breadwinner of the family at a quite a young age, and I had a mum that didn't speak English, didn't work, didn't drive a vehicle, you know, a migrant mother, and 4 sisters, no other brothers, uncles, male figures to sort of lean on or lead the way. And I realized that, you know, the world is not a kind place, and things are not going to be given to you. You have to, and there's no such thing as overnight success. That's when I said to myself, okay, I've got to figure out what it takes to pay rent at a very young age. Still a student.
How old were you?
Early high school years.
Wow.
So from there, I had multiple jobs pushing trolleys in Burwood, which was difficult. I had such a small frame. I had a very difficult time controlling the trolleys. They would go everywhere, hit the cars, and it's very, very hard to maintain a job like that. Delivering the newspaper, working as a carpet layers labourer from 10 o'clock in the evening till 6 o'clock in the morning, then going to school, often forgetting your school bag. Doing that and then having teachers around you, some very good teachers, like I still remember my English teacher, Miss Jamisi, and my Arabic teachers, Mr. Antoon and Mr. Hassan, shout out to them. But my maths teacher didn't inspire me to become a maths teacher. The rest of my teachers were pushing me to leave school. You're going to go to jail anyway. Why are you still here? Oh, you're good at maths, do carpentry. So it wasn't, you know, and it was an FU to them, pretty much. Like, I'll show you. Yeah. I'll show you. And what was sad is actually I reached out to after I became a maths teacher, I reached out through a teacher that used to teach me. I said, say hello to my old maths teacher. I remember telling him on my practicum, are you still in touch with my old maths teacher? I'm not going to mention her name. And he said, yeah. I said, tell her I said hello. The next day I said, oh, did you tell her? I said, g'day, what'd she say? He said, oh, she doesn't want to know about it. Like, instead of being happy for you that, you know, if my maths student got a double degree in mathematics and became something, even if I wasn't, you know, directly responsible or directly motivating factor, I'd be happy. But 100%. Not in this case. But it's an FU to them to motivate you enough to keep moving.
But now you've built your own empire.
Oh, it's a work in progress. We need to take over McDonald's first.
Moodi, thank you very much for your time. It's been really, really, really inspiring. I've still got a lot more questions, but I know that your time's constrained. So
we'll do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again. We'll see you again next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll ask you more about your exercise regime next time.
Yeah.